We recently saw the first trailer of the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie, which is one of the most anticipated movies of this year, and this obviously has an explanation. Since the first Deadpool movie was released, the superhero category has completely changed, and this is due to several important reasons. If you live under a rock and don't know any movies of this character, I invite you to look up the two movies that have been previously released. Deadpool is a Marvel character, which breaks the fourth wall. This means that he can talk to the public and recognizes that he is a fictional character. Another important detail about Deadpool is that his content has a lot of violence, and this is why his movies are always R-rated. This is the most important part that we are going to talk about in this video, since this is precisely what has transformed the world of cinema in the superhero categories. Many have not yet understood it, but superhero movies are going to start moving little by little towards the R rating, and in this rating, there are many things they can achieve. Unfortunately, right now many superhero productions are declining, and although this is due to many different reasons, it is also that in life everything has a cycle. Several years ago, superhero movies were pretty silly and didn't have as much of a fan base. After several years and many failed productions, finally superhero movies started to become relevant. All these movies started out being family-friendly, but the reality is that comic books are full of violent stories and very dark themes. This is why it is sometimes difficult to faithfully adapt the comics to the movies, since the classification is different and they must find a way to create a product suitable for the entire family, even though the comics are more for adults. Obviously, we know that comics are read by young people of all ages, but we must accept that their content is aimed at an adult audience. Despite all these difficulties, Marvel has managed to create an impressive universe in the world of cinema, and this has led to more than 10 years of excellent stories. Unfortunately, everything has its end, and sometimes you simply have to start making radical changes. When Ryan Reynolds presented the Deadpool project to Marvel executives and said that these movies had to be R-rated, everyone thought he was crazy. Obviously, time proved him right, as we have been able to see how successful this character has been, and they did this with Logan as well. For those of you who already know this YouTube channel, you know that here we are dedicated to talking only about Power Rangers, so you must be wondering, what does Deadpool have to do with Power Rangers? Since the beginning of the Power Rangers franchise, everything has been connected with Marvel, as the beginnings of Spider-Man also have a relation with this franchise. What I mean by this is that all franchises must change at some point, and just as Marvel is changing, Power Rangers must also change. Right now, the franchise that leads all superhero projects is Marvel, so they are basically writing the rules of the game, and if Power Rangers wants to get in on this, then they must follow these rules. I'll explain this in a better way. Power Rangers was never in the same game as Marvel, as this franchise was only in the business of creating a children's series, and this is why it has never been a rival to Marvel. Now with the reboot of Power Rangers, the entire project is supposed to be geared towards a more adult audience, which means that they are going to start being in the same category as Marvel, although they are not at the same level. We know Marvel is at a very high level, as they have been working on excellent movies and a connected universe for many years, but this is basically the same thing that Power Rangers wants to start doing. So, what does the Deadpool movie mean for Power Rangers? If Power Rangers is going to be in the same category as Marvel, then they should learn to follow in the footsteps of that franchise, and make no mistake, this doesn't mean they have to do the exact same thing. It means that they must learn from the mistakes of that franchise and start creating new paths in order to be more successful. We have slowly been able to notice with the Deadpool and Logan movies that the R rating may be the future of superhero movies. Obviously, I don't think all superhero movies are going to be R-rated, but I think they are now going to create more R-rated movies since Deadpool has been the proof that these movies can be very successful. What makes Deadpool very successful in this rating is that the producers can create a movie that is more like the comics, and this is a big advantage for any superhero production. The advantage that Power Rangers has is that they are going to create a new universe using only the core idea of what the Power Rangers are all about. This is like having a blank piece of paper and you just have an idea that is already successful, but you can develop it any way you want. Obviously, we already know that the path of creating a children's series is out of the question since they did that for 30 years, and even though it worked very well for all that time, now it doesn't work anymore. The paths left is to create a universe suitable for the whole family or to create an R-rated universe. Many are going to think that maybe they can create both, but the reality is that Power Rangers is very different from any other superhero franchise, and this is because there are not that many different superheroes. For example, Deadpool is very different from Captain America, so they can create completely different stories with different styles and different classifications. In the case of Power Rangers, all the superheroes out there have the same concept, and even though each team has different powers, it's basically the same idea. The idea of Power Rangers is people who use the same source of power to transform themselves and use special suits, weapons, and giant robots. Even though the theme of each team is different, what I just mentioned is what all the teams have, so we can say that all Power Rangers have the same concept, but with different styles. Because of this is that it doesn't make sense that they can use R rating for some productions and PG rating for other productions. It's like saying that Cosmic Fury would have created it R-rated and at the same time they would have created Mighty Morphin PG-rated, but both productions are part of the same universe. Both Power Rangers teams have the same concept, so why would Cosmic Fury be rated R and Mighty Morphin be rated PG? This obviously doesn't make sense. So the producers have to choose one way, and I think they have chosen the TV-14 rating. From the information on the internet so far, the reboot looks like it's going to be rated 14+, which means they're going to create something pretty dark, but not as dark as Deadpool. This character is obviously not dark, but his jokes and violence are not suitable for all ages. Little by little the movie world is changing, and superhero movies are going to start being R-rated, so Power Rangers could also follow that path in the future. If you would like to know more about Power Rangers, give like to this video and subscribe to become a Ranger.